Jim, did you think Pacquiao won that fight? It was good.
Manny Pacquiao won. Yes, I did.
Clearly, was there any room for discussion?
Oh no, man! I thought Manny won that.
With the Manny Pacquiao decision?
Yeah.
Honestly, man, I want to say, if anything, I would have given a split to Manny Pacquiao. I shouldn't say it in the news.
What did you think of the fight?
I thought it was a good fight. I thought Manny did enough.
The highly anticipated showdown between Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios ended in controversy, as a shocking draw sparked outrage throughout the boxing world. Despite being counted out by many experts who expected a farewell beating, Pac defied age and expectations with a vintage performance that stunned fans and analysts alike. Most believe he clearly outpointed the younger, fresher Barrios. Yet the judges saw it differently, igniting a wave of criticism across the sport. Former champions, analysts, and insiders were united in disbelief, calling the result a glaring failure of boxing officiating. Among the loudest voices was former two-time welterweight world champion Shawn Porter, who claimed Barrios didn't convincingly win a single round and lacked the urgency needed against an elite fighter like Pacquiao. Porter blamed the controversial outcome on poor judging, describing it as yet another case of incompetence that tarnished the sport's credibility.
Don, he may not have gotten him out of there in 3, but he looked like he damn near won the first 3 rounds. What did you think of Pacquiao tonight? Who do you think won the fight?
It was really hard for me to give Mario rounds. I thought that, Manny is a systematic fighter. He works, jab, 1-2s. He's always leading with the straight left. I don't feel like Mario took control, took charge at any points. I don't know if he outlanded them at any point in any rounds. It was hard. It's really hard to see from where I was at. But all in all, I just felt like it was, if you had a meter, it was really swaying Manny's way the whole way. So I don't know, man. I think it's bad judging, incompetence as usual. I think.
Shawn Porter, a longtime critic of questionable judging in boxing, pointed to this controversial decision as yet another example of why he chose to retire from the sport. In his view, there was no logical justification for the outcome, and he emphasized that trying to understand the reasoning behind the draw was a futile exercise that would lead nowhere.
I'm retired for a reason. I didn't retire because I couldn't get decisions, but simply put, there's a lot that goes on in this game that I don't agree with, and this just adds to my fire and my fire to stay retired and try to empower the change that I feel is needed.
What would be the logic behind putting it, not giving any decision?
There's no logic.
Porter ultimately concluded that Mario Barrios had done neither enough to win nor to warrant a draw, further reinforcing his belief that Manny Pacquiao clearly deserved the victory.
Simply put, there's a lot that goes on in this game that I don't agree with, and this just adds to my fire and my fire to stay retired and try to empower the change that I feel is needed.
What would be the logic behind putting it, not giving any decision?
There's no logic. There's no logic. I know that the judges are announced. I know that we know who the judges are and all those sorts of things.
Another respected voice, echoing similar sentiments, was former boxing and kickboxing world champion Chris Algier. While he admitted the fight had competitive moments, Algier felt Pacquiao consistently outworked Barrios throughout most of the bout. He noted that Pacquiao landed the cleaner, more effective shots and held the upper hand until the final bell. Despite the close nature of some rounds, Algier was genuinely baffled that the judges failed to award the victory to the Filipino icon.
Super close fight back and forth. Manny, shocked me. I didn't think that he was going to be able to do the 12 rounds route. He looked really good until the 12th round. And Barrios just didn't do enough, man. He just was stuck in second gear. It seemed like there were a lot of opportunities for him to take advantage, and he just didn't. Manny did a great job of utilizing the crowd, utilizing his hand speed, his foot speed, some movement just to keep the emotion there. I was saying during the PPP.com live chat, Barrios fighting with zero swagger, with no attitude. He wasn't selling anything he was doing. He did a lot of good work, but it was like you had to be really, really watching to see him do it. And I don't know, man. I think as close as that was, as close as that fight, was. How do you not give it to Manny?
When asked about the potential for a rematch, Chris Algier emphasized that it should be Barrios seeking redemption, not Pacquiao. In his view, Barrios failed to earn a definitive victory and should be the one pursuing another opportunity. Pacquiao, on the other hand, proved he still belongs at the highest level and remains in a strong position. regardless of the official outcome.
Naturally surprised with the decision, the majority draw. Do you feel like we should get a rematch?
That's entirely up to Manny. That's entirely up to Manny. I got a red eye flag. That's entirely up to Manny. You know, I think he's in the driver's seat now. It's amazing that he was able to, you know, to fight at that level. But I think, you know,
Former unified welterweight world champion Keith Thurman also weighed in with criticism of Barrios' performance, noting that Barrios failed to capitalize on crucial moments, especially in the later rounds, when the fight was up for grabs. Thurman had anticipated a more calculated and dominant effort from Barrios, particularly given Pacquiao's age and time away from the ring, but said that level of urgency and execution simply never showed up.
So he should have let a little bit more dog come out, especially in those later rounds when Manny Pacquiao was slowing down. The rust showed. He still looked good. The angles.
From Thurman's perspective, the younger fighter should have taken command as the fight wore on. But his failure to do so made it hard to justify anything other than a Pacquiao victory. WBA super lightweight champion Gary Antoine Russell echoed that sentiment, stating that if he were judging the bout, he would have given Pacquiao the win via split decision.
With the Manny Pacquiao decision?
yeah.
Honestly, man, I want to say, if anything, I would have given a split to Manny Pacquiao. It should have said and dude. You know what I mean? But hey, tomato. Sometimes you don't get what you deserve. But it was still a very...
Russell stressed that Barrios should have shown more aggression and activity if he wanted to secure a win. In his view, Pacquiao was clearly the more effective fighter throughout the match. While he acknowledged that the fight had its close moments, he firmly believed the scoring should have favored Pacquiao's superior output, insisting that the victory rightfully belonged to Manny, not Mario.
I would like to see a rematch. I would like to see a rematch. Why? Because I don't think that was a legitimate decision. So, but it is what it is, you know.
What do you think Mario could have done better to actually sway people to believe this was a draw?
He could have been more active. I feel like he was waiting too long. Mario Barrios, he's a precision fighter, you know, but Manny Pacquiao, he's too busy for a fighter that's just want to sit there and take pictures and look pretty. Mario Barrios, I feel like he got to be punctual when he's boxing. You can be a boxer, but be an effective boxer. You know, I feel like he was just waiting there in the pocket a little too long, and that just kind of like cost him a couple of rounds. That's why I said I don't think it should have been a majority draw. A split decision, Manny Pacquiao, if anything.
What was your scorecard?
Split decision.
Manny Pacquiao's longtime advisor, Sean Gibbons, voiced his disbelief over the decision, expressing both disappointment and confusion. He said he couldn't understand what the judges saw that could possibly justify calling the fight a draw.
I had him like up going into the 10th round, maybe by 4 or 5 points. So I'm very disappointed that I don't know what the judges saw.
He said he was immediately shocked, noting that this wasn't the first time Pacquiao had suffered from a controversial decision. To Gibbons, the draw was just the latest example in a long history of questionable judging that has plagued Pacquiao's career.
You know, it was just kind of disbelief, though. Like, how does that happen? Why does that happen? Manny Pacquiao, at 46 years old, making history, vintage performance, gave it his all in the ring. And why, you know, he's been robbed on a few occasions. Now, he's got a few, you know, decisions that were close, that went his way. But the mood was like just disbelief. Just like why does it happen?
The overwhelming sentiment across the boxing world is that the judges got it wrong. While some admitted the fight was competitive, the majority felt Pacquiao had clearly done enough to win. What made the result even harder to accept for many was that, at 46, Pacquiao defied all expectations with a performance that stunned the sport, only to have victory snatched away by what many see as an indefensible decision. The controversial draw has reignited long-standing concerns about the state of judging in boxing, especially in major bouts featuring global superstars. Critics argue that scoring remains wildly inconsistent and often fails to reward the fighter, who truly dictates the pace and action. In this case, they believe Pacquiao became the latest victim of that inconsistency. ESPN host Brian Custer didn't hesitate to voice his opinion, declaring that Pacquiao was the rightful winner.